My name is Rob Becerra. I'm an actor, animal activist, and one of the associate producers here at WPAT radio station here in New York. I've been an actor for about 4 years. I've had the privilege and honor of working with some of the soprano actors and networking with Chaz Palminteri, Richard Gere from Pretty Woman, among other elite actors. I found my niche, which was acting, but then I found something that I have even more passion about, which is animal activist work. And when I found out what was happening to these animals in New York City, I decided I had to partake in it and do as much as I can to help them. I really got a good glimpse of what goes on in the South when I was on an episode, when I did an episode for Animal Planet Network's Pit Bulls and Parolees. I really got a glimpse of what that was like down in New Orleans, and a lot of work needs to be done for the animals in this country. So recently we did have a rally, and I am very happy to say hundreds of people showed up. Fox 5 News showed up, New York One showed up, and it's great to see some media support that we're getting for these rallies, because these animals need a voice, and we are their voice, and they need justice, and we're the ones that are going to give it to them. The local government, the mayor's office, they are doing nothing for these animals. They're doing nothing for the horses, and they're just doing nothing in general. So it's very important that we actually come together, we unite.
And what did you accomplish most at the latest rally that was?
There was a lot of public awareness. That was number one. Public awareness. People were coming up saying, hey, what is this about? People are handing out flyers. I'm glad people were handing out flyers because people need to know what's going on. There was an information table so people could get information, as well as know when the next rally is. It's very important that people know what's going on, because you need to know where your taxpayers' dollars are going to.
Right.
$50 million over 5 years is allocated to the animals in New York City. $10 million a year. They're living in horrid conditions. You would think, it's horrendous. And where's the money going to? I know where it's going. It's going in people's pockets. It's going, unfortunately, in the wrong areas, and that needs to be adjusted. There needs to be some type of oversight at the ACC that they do not have now, and that's something that we would like. I'm not asking to get rid of the ACC, because we do need someone to take in an open shelter, to take in all these animals. What we need is reform, and that's basically what I'm asking. I actually reached out to the mayor's office, so hopefully he's listening tonight. He's pretty free, so it's very important that something is done. I'm a reasonable guy. I told you that 100 billion times over. I'm reasonable. We need to get things done for these animals. It's morally right. We have an obligation, a moral obligation. And when you're not doing right by the animals, you're doing a disservice to them. And when you do a disservice to them, people like me start to get really busy. I'm already busy. I don't want to be more busy. Just do right by the animals, and we'll be just fine.
Do you foresee any other rallies? You mentioned one to me last week coming up next year in April, but is there any other activities or rallies or anything that people can learn about between now and then?
Well, I always tell people education is very important, learning about, and we have people listening in from California. Hi, Grace. Hi, Lily. We got people listening in from Indiana. We got people listening in all over the country. So I say this to everyone listening in your home state. Do your due diligence. Find out what the problems are in your community and be proactive. In New York City, we had one of the largest rallies in history just 10 days ago. So it's media's coming out and everything else. I've been interviewed by Daily News, Fox 5, New York One, among other media outlets. And people are becoming aware. The media is watching, but we all need to unite, not divide. We all need to put our heads together, and we got to turn these hundreds into thousands. And when we do that and we start walking the streets, we will get the attention not only of Fox, but CNN. And people will realize that this is not just a New York City issue, but a nationwide issue. And that's what we're really trying to get focused on, along with animal rights. And The next rally will be in April. We don't have a set date yet because it is 6 months out. But a lot of people are like, well, what about December? What about January? Problem is 10 degrees out. A lot of people are like, oh, I'll just stay inside. I've heard that. I tested the water. January, February, it's not going to work. I tried it. April would be the next one. But guess what? That gives us 6 months to plan, 6 months to get things done, and build an even bigger army. So it gives us ample time to get things done. I do want to mention something that I promised my director that I would mention. Larry, if you're listening, this one's for you. So I was on a gig this past Sunday, an acting gig. I play a undercover cop that's crooked. You know, the whole Italian thing. Hey, how you doing? You know what I mean? So I said, all right, not a problem. The show is called Coincidence. Now I'm going to be working to get this like as a sitcom in front of focus groups for NBC, Fox, Eyewitness, Channel 7, all these different companies, and hopefully someone picks this up.
And probably WPAT Multicultural Broadcast.
Yeah, I'll be more than happy to get the executive producer and director on the show one day. Absolutely. I'm sure they would love to come on and talk.
A show talking about animals and activism. I think that would be one of the top-rated radio shows in the country. I think they need that on a radio station.
Well, I mean, you know what? It has gone up based from what I've seen, but it's very important that people understand what's going on. I do want to give a couple shout outs, and I only have one song that someone really wants to put on
Sure,
for their lovely wife. All right. So the shout outs will be to Marie Palladino in Bronx, New York. I told you I was going to mention you. Forget about it. We got Chris Delano from Colorado. He drove 80 miles to give me a T-shirt.
Isn't that something? 80 miles.
Give me a T-shirt.
You have to have him come down here and bring some of his shirts.
Well, I don't know. That's 2,000 miles away. It's Colorado.
All right. When it comes to New York next
You're
time.
right. We also have Piggy the Pitbull against animal cruelty. We have Maria Meneschetti from Long Island. Karen Milovich from Indiana, hi, Karen. I'll be seeing you in December. Keep fighting the good fight. Get that group larger with Charles, and we're going to make it happen. And Lily Silva and the lovely Grace Navarro out in Los Angeles, California. I miss you both. And let's grow California like we're doing here in New York.
Let's do it.
So one more thing I want to mention before the song you put on, and then pretty much wrap it up. Dana Drew, Indiana, right? Her 3 dogs got out from the fence, and she found out through, I think it was Snapchat or one of those online segments, her dogs were shot and killed.
Yeah.
The owner of that property took their collars off and burned their bodies. There was no justice for these 3 dogs. There was no provocation. He chased them down on ATVs and hunted them down, shot them, killed them, burned their bodies. The cops gave her back the collars. There was no justice, and I'm looking to get justice for this woman. It's very important that people do know the story and do know about it. And I actually have a website you can actually take a look at that was started up by them.
What is that?
It's www.stormlolabuster.com. That's www.stormlolabuster.com. And once again, I'm going to be meeting her in December. My heart, she's listening right now. My heart goes out to you. There will be justice. Anyone who does something like that needs to be held accountable. And we're going to do everything we can to make sure it happens. I'm going to reach out to the guy who covered the story from CBS News Chicago. So just be patient. We're coming for you. We're going to help you out. Now, I also like to give a shout out to Craig for being the camera guy and coming down on his day off to, help us out and get it going, because this, is going to be viral. We really need that exposure for these animals. Like I said, the show I'm doing, Coincidence, maybe we could kind of fit, if I talk to the producer, kind of fit an animal abuser in there and I kind of whack them, throw them in the back of my Cadillac, you know what I mean?
Sure.
Something like that would be nice, I could do it, I could live with that. But, it's at the end of the day, it's about the animals, it's about getting things done. I just wanted to mention a couple more things for the people still listening. We are going to be doing a rally probably at the end of April and mid-April. I'm not exactly sure. We're going to figure that out. We are going to have meetings probably in December and then again in February to kind of like finalize everything, and then again right before the rally, obviously. It's going to be the same thing, ACC reform. Because if we focus on one thing, we're going to focus on that task. We're going to get it done. It's just a matter of time. And we're going to have as much media as we can. Obviously, the more people, the more the media will come. Cool. That's just the way it works. You know that, Teddy, and so do I. So if we have thousands of people marching the streets, I guarantee they will come.
And having an animal show that specializes in activism,
right,
preventing the cruelty to animals, I think would be an ideal situation as a lead up to April.
You just reminded me. I was actually thinking of doing and getting an animal show within a network, and being able to sell it and pitch it to them, because there's not one animal show or animal talk show on the air that I can find. I'm on Animal Planet nowhere. So I'm like, let me get it done. So obviously support of the people and sponsorships and everything else is very important at that point. But, once again, we're going to be keeping everyone up to date through here, WPAT, because I'm not going to talk about the rallies with CBS News or any of the other interviews I got coming up. But I will be talking about it here on this radio station. So make sure you guys tune in here whenever I put something on Facebook like you're doing now. And make sure you show support, love, and we'll get justice for Dana Drew's animals in Indiana, and we'll get justice for all the animals across this country. I thank Teddy Smith for having me. It was a pleasure.
Thanks, Rob Becerra, right here, and your friend that just
My friend Craig, thank you
Thanks, Craig.
For taping this. He just waves like, no problem. Very, very humble guy.
That's right. And we have with us one of the greatest opera singers right here in the United States.